Hi, everybody. Twice in one day. Can you imagine? This is Erica from In the Company of Cards. Um, you saw the Sunday edition with my interview with Lori Farrington. If you've not seen it, please go check that out. I see that we're now up to almost 21,000 subscribers. I don't know why or how this is growing so exponentially, but I'm delighted. And so I thought I would come on and do an extra video today. So first thing, thank you. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I hope you enjoy it here. Um, I read every comment. There may come a time when I can't do that, but I do read all my comments and appreciate them and appreciate that they are for the extreme most part really kind and generous and thoughtful and civil. If they do not strike me as being any of those things, you know, bibbity bobbity boo. I can hit the button and they're gone. So I don't do that often. I don't have to do that often, and I'm delighted by that, and I'm grateful for that. So thank you. Um, a couple of things. One, I said I was going to do free readings live on here on New Year's Eve, and I am going to do that. That's going to be 4 p.m. Pacific time. So calculate accordingly. But I decided that as an extra gift, I would do it again. Or I would do another session of that because I'll only be able to get but so many people in. And if you get the reading, that's great. It'll be a little short 5 card reading. If you don't get the reading, well, at least you're getting some experience in seeing how the cards function in someone's actual real lived situation. So it's worth coming to watch as just as a teaching tool. So I thought that I would do it again, or I keep saying that again, do it a second time. So the second time will be on the New Year's Eve, the 31st, but I'm also going to do it on Sunday, and Sunday's the 22nd. And because I know I have a lot of viewers in Europe and other places in the world, I thought that I would change the time. So on January 22nd, that's a Sunday, I will be reading at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's 1 o'clock Eastern. Figure it out from there. Okay. And I will remind you a couple of more times before that happens. Again, I can do a bunch of people in a span of an hour. I'll have somebody moderating the chat for the questions. But I couldn't get to everybody last time, obviously, and I won't be able to get to everybody in these next 2 times coming up. But I just wanted to offer this as a gift. I am very, very grateful for all your support, all your love, the criticisms too, when they are kindly offered. Um, so I'm going to be doing readings on the 22nd, which is Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific, and I'm also going to be doing them New Year's Eve, 4 p.m. Pacific. So whatever time zone works best for you, I hope you show up. Okay. I wanted to say a word about yesterday because, of course, as you can imagine, I got a lot of comments. You can go read them for yourself about my reading about the inauguration 2025, January 20th, Martin Luther King Day. Just saying. Anyway, and I made the observation that there's been a lot of things going on internationally, right? So, for example, Assad fell in Syria, and people are thrilled about that. So he is currently in Russia. I guess, making up the bunk bed should he have American company anytime in the future. But anyway, Assad is gone, so he's been overthrown. Uh, we see that South Korea is trying to overthrow their prime minister, their president, whatever, the guy who called for martial law. And we see that that's a bit of a process, getting rid of him. Um, what else? Um, Syria, South Korea. Oh, Romania. I talked about Romania at some length yesterday, sort of stopping their election process because of interference. And, I just think it's interesting. I also think, though, and I may very well lose subscribers for what I'm about to say, and that's fine. You are, nobody's holding anybody hostage here. I'm delighted that you're here, but if somewhere else better suits your tastes and your belief system, by all means, go with my blessing. But I will say this, I think that the United States, relative to these other countries that I've just mentioned, again, South Korea, Romania, and Syria, each of those situations is special and unique. We see there's all kinds of upheaval going on in other places as well. France, right? For example, the UK. I mean, there's things happening all over the country where um, despotic rule is being um, responded to in a way that with an eye towards eliminating it. But the United States is a special case, and I don't want to be one of those people that sits here talking about American exceptionalism in a positive light, particularly. I mean, there are wonderful things about the United States. I'm happy to be an American. But I think that our understanding of ourselves as exceptional is problematic. So yesterday I read on President Biden, and I saw that he was very disturbed, stunned even, by the breadth and depth the of Russian interference and the interference of other countries in our election. But I want to be very clear. That was not the only reason that the election went the way that it went. So let's not lose sight of that. Let's not use that as a red herring to absolve people who voted for whatever reason, uh, against Harris. They had their reasons. And, again, some of them are economic self-interest. I suspect that they will be feeling some buyer's remorse before too long. Or they say that it's economic self-interest. Some of those reasons were racist and misogynistic. Uh, uh, and that's just a fact. So I really, I'm just saying, this is my point of view. This is not the cards in the moment. I am going to read cards in a minute. But in my opinion, uh, to whatever degree there was Russian interference, that does not absolve the the majority, apparently, who voted 45 back in, because they did that. Okay. Now, of course, we all want to be rescued. And we're looking at places like um, Romania, for example, um, to say, if they did there what they did here, if the Russians did there what they did here, um, that should instigate a response, and whether that response is, the War Powers Act, whether it's the whatever the NATO's response. Um, I just think that, and a lot of readers are saying this, and people, of course, are choosing to ignore this part because it's not the part that they want to hear, that free will is a big thing. And I think I did actually I did a video and I actually didn't post it the other day on this. And what I suggested was that um, because of this idea of American exceptionalism, there is a lot of ego attached to how we see ourselves in the world. And part of that means that the last thing that the government would want people to think is that we got bamboozled, hoodwinked, run amok to the extent that we did. And I think that Biden understands that if he were to get up and say, okay, yeah, we're going to do like Romania, we're, I'm gonna stay on and we're gonna pretend that that whole thing didn't happen, and I'm gonna work out how we redo things or decide that we're the winners or Kamala's the winner, and so just sit tight. I don't think that will happen. I do, I do think that Five Eyes, which are the international spy agencies, intelligence agencies, have discussed things with him. Um, NATO has discussed things with him. And I'm not saying that I think that his course of action is one I would take if I were president, but guess what? I'm not the president. And it could well be, remember, free will is a thing. There are actors here who have free will. So there can be a plan, a trajectory, but the fact is there are multiple trajectories and multiple timelines. And which one gets taken, a lot of it has to do with free will. So I think, I slept on this and I'm going to read on Harris because I think that's important. Well, I have my own theory about where she is in all of this based on other readings that I've done since the election. But I'd like to just look at Harris because, if everybody's wild dream came true, um, she would be the one taking the oath on the 20th. So I'd like to see what is she thinking about right now. So let's just look at that really quickly. What I'm saying to you is, uh, yeah, there's a lot of evidence about the corruption that took place. Russia and company, because they weren't by themselves, were a part of it. But a lot of people pull the lever willingly for 45 in this country. And if we don't address that and we don't acknowledge that and we blame it all on Russia, 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 we're wrong, wrong, wrong. So I just want to go on record as saying that, among other things that I want to say. But for now, let's just look at Harris and see where her mind is right now. Okay. Looking for the older woman card to represent Harris. So that's Harris. Okay. So the cards we have are the mountain, the birds, there's Harris, child, and tree. And I will draw some clarifiers. But, you know, what I want to say is her destiny, which was to win the presidency, was blocked. I've had people write me and say, well, if that's her destiny, how come she's not the president? Because there are multiple timelines involved. I'm not arguing with anyone. I'm saying that it was her destiny to be the president of this country. But there are lots of other actors. If you've not seen the movie Butterfly Effect, it's an old movie. You should see it. But I mean, she was blocked from this destiny, which caused her to engage in lots of conversations with lots of different people. Here she is. And they think these two cards are interesting. I suspect she's on to something new. This is something new. Not only something new, but something that will have longevity and also something where she goes back to her roots. And by the way, her roots are right here in California. So I'm going to draw some clarifiers. I'll draw clarifiers on her, and I'll draw clarifiers on the child, and I'll draw clarifiers on the tree. Okay. So we have Harris, and the clarifiers for that card are the ring, the whip, and the scales. So I suspect that there have been with her, lots of going around and around and around. What happened? How did that happen? Is there any way to salvage this, etc.? I think that the conversations around her were heated, and probably there were recriminations and accusations flung by different people, meaning members of her team, Biden's team. I think there's a lot of blame that's gone on back and forth, and that she just wants remember she's a prosecutor. She just wants um, things to settle and for people to see clearly, to weigh things appropriately. How much of what happened was this, how much of it was that, how much of it was the other, instead of throwing all this blame around. She's kind of over that part. Now, I said that the child card represents something new, her new path, because the White House path got tangled up and cut off. So this is me. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and you're free to go elsewhere to find somebody to tell you something that you want. Her path to the White House was tangled up and cut. She has no path to the White House. And I think that the reasons for it are many, but when I talk about American exceptionalism, I think that part of it is, as I said, I don't think Biden, for example, wants to acknowledge how deep and wide this was. So I think his theory is, you know what? Sorry, NATO. It's over. And hopefully certain incoming people will slip on a banana peel, metaphorically, of course, and the country will right its ship. But it's not going to right its ship the way a lot of you here think that it will, which is to say, um, that everything is exposed, all the fraud is exposed, and Biden says, "Okay, I'm not leaving, I'm staying on, and we're going to redo the election, or just I'm going to just say Kamala's the president, and we'll all live happily ever after." Biden will not do that. Biden is a man of a certain era. He thinks things are done a certain way. It really has shocked him that that sort of hand across the aisle thing doesn't work anymore. He's an anachronism. He's not Dark Brandon. Dark Brandon was back in the Obama era, and it was kind of a joke. Dark Brandon. He's not coming to save us. Um, I I see why people want to say that he will. I see why people are looking at events around the world, aka, for example, Romania, South Korea, Syria, and saying, why can't something like that happen here? Well, because Biden will not um, instigate it. And because Harris is over it. As far as she's concerned, the presidency is a dead issue. She is on to planting new seeds in ground that has already proved fertile for her. And that would be, I think, California. The cards for her are, for this card, for the tree, are the coffin, the anchor, and the heart. So she's looking to do something transformative. I don't know what that is. Perhaps she'll run for governor because Gavin Newsom's term is nearly up. That could be. But something transformative, something that she can stay with and stick with and really do good work in, and something that she will love and that will love her back because America is not it. For any number of reasons. Russia is only one of those reasons. If you want to say Russia, and throw out misogyny and racism and everything else, I'm not your girl. I'm not telling you what you want to hear then. So now I mentioned Susan Lin, Spirit Navigator. I think she's great. She still holds out hope that something can happen. As I said, I've slept on this. I've dreamed about it last night, uh, and I've pulled cards today. And I think that if Biden did sort of miraculously say, "Yeah, I'm going to stay," and Harris really is the president, I'm going to step down and put her in the place of me, and we're going to redo everything, that I think she would say, "No, thank you." Um, because, you know, I mean, America made itself very clear. Russian interference notwithstanding. I think even without Russian interference, some people would have voted the way that they voted, if you know what I mean, and that would have been it. Now you're saying to yourselves, well, that's not what she said yesterday. Energy is mutable, meaning things change. I think yesterday Biden was shook. I think there's a lot of conversation going on, loud, heated, can this situation be saved? And I think I think he's an anachronism. This is too much for him to put in motion. Not the least of which reason is potentially, he's saying to himself, this could start World War III. Is that what I want to do? Let the chips fall where they may. I think that's what he's saying. Let the chips fall where they may. Hopefully somebody slips on a banana peel, metaphorically speaking, you two. But I'm not gonna get into this in a 1 week span of time, mind you. A viewer told me that the certification is the 17th. But I mean, in 1 week, no. So magical thinking over here is not happening. It's not happening for Harris either. She is on to other things. Now I can look one more time, just a 5 card at Biden because, the stages of grief are the stages of grief. And I think he was shocked when he found out the depth of things. But by the same token, I think he was also shocked at the misogyny and racism that caused so many to vote for Harris without Russian help, to not vote for Harris without Russian help. So let's see where he is today, because again, energy is mutable. Uh, Somebody said to me yesterday, "Oh, I'm so glad that you have come to your senses, and now you realize that that Biden is gonna turn all this around." That viewer may be one of the ones who says, yeah, pass, unsubscribe. If you unsubscribe, by the way, you need not inform me of that. Just hit the button. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. Here I am about having my ASMR voice and my ASMR sound that I make with the cards and telling you the truth as I see it and as the cards see it. My truth does not have to be your truth. I'm good with that. Energy is mutable, and I get to respond to that however I want. I am not jumping on anybody's conspiracy theory bandwagon. I wish that we'd had more time. I wish that Biden had acted 2 months ago. I think he's let a lot of time pass with in inaction. It sort of reminds me of the night of the debate where he was like, I think that's how he's felt, just sort of not knowing what to do. And I think he thinks that the best course of action is inaction. And America spoke with or without a Russian accent. America spoke, and so now we have to go through this fire. Um, but let's look and see where he is now. Again, if you leave, it's been lovely having you. Thank you so much. Um, Others will take your place, I'm sure. If you stay, I'm grateful. Okay. So we're looking at Biden and how he's doing in this moment. So of course we're looking for the older man. Boy, deep in the deck. Here he is. Okay. I mean, I'll hold them up so you can see. We have the crossroads. We have the garden. Here's Biden. Here's the fox. And here's the key. Uh, this is an interesting card to start the line, and I may pull clarifiers. Uh, Crossroads is about choices, and he has had choices, right? Do I just let things go and, go off into the sunset? Do I uh, do the War Powers Act and stay until this thing can be fleshed out, knowing that that could instigate a civil war, if not a world war? These are the choices that lie before him. Uh, and it's mirrored by the key. I can mirror the first card with the last card. Um, I think he is weighing choices. So again, if you'd like a straw of hope, that is your straw of hope. That in the coming days, we will learn something, he will say something, um, that, but free will, this is the card of free will. He has choices. The garden is the second card, and the garden is his people, American people. Not just American people, though. It's the world. Think of it, the tarot card, the world card. This is the world. And I hate to say it, but this is the card of illusion. Remember, he's blissed out and, sitting amidst mushrooms, and some of which he clearly has consumed because his eyes are closed. I think that he's not wanted to see the world as it really is. Um, so I think what I'll do is I'll pull a couple of clarifiers on him, and I'll pull a couple of clarifiers on the fox, 3, And I'll pull three clarifiers on the key. Okay. Yeah, this kind of bears out what I suspect, which is he'll just let things stay the course, take their course. Just let things play out as it looks like they will play out, which is he leaves the White House January 20th. They do that transfer of power, and we are then in 45 land again. So here's a Biden. Look, the book, the ship, and the tower. Okay. So Biden doesn't know what to do because he's this myriad of choices in front of him. He doesn't know what to do. And he's certainly keeping his cards close to the vest. He's not going to get up and give a speech and tell us about his process, his decision process. What he's most concerned about is sort of the smooth sailing of government. Well, we would not have a smooth sailing of government if he said, "Oh, by the way, War Powers Act, I'm going to stay." And, sorry, but here we go. He doesn't want that. He wants smooth sailing for the government. Not that it will be smooth sailing, by the way, but, relative to him sort of declaring war, it's smooth sailing. All right, then we have this fox, and the cards are the heart, the whip, and the lily. Again, this is confirmatory to me of what I said to you earlier. Um, you know, he's just under this illusion that, everything's going to work out. Uh, and all of this dissension and fighting amongst ourselves and each other, that what we need more than anything in this country, he believes, is peace. And he thinks that the best road to peace is the peaceful transfer of power. I mean, he didn't ask me what I thought. I'm just telling you, this is what the cards say he's thinking. Okay, and then I drew clarifiers on the key. So he feels like his response to this, out of all the choices that he has, that the choice he will make, the answer is let things keep going the way that they're going, keep it going, uh, keep it on the same course. The die is cast, the people have spoken, the election has been had, and regardless of whatever happened, we need to go through the motions of peaceful transfer of power. Again, to keep an equilibrium in the country. Now, he could just be buying time. I don't think there will be equilibrium in this country, but when it doesn't happen, when there is no equilibrium, he will be able to say, well, that wasn't on my watch. He's worried about his legacy too. And he would rather go down as the person who, handed over transfer of power to the person whom the country said they wanted, whatever, than instigate world war or a civil war. He's thinking about his own legacy. And we can wish that that were not true, that that were not uppermost in his mind. But he's the one in charge. And so his free will is the will that we will end up bowing to. We can't make him do what he won't do any more than we can make Harris do what she won't do. Harris, as we saw in the earlier reading, is on to other, hopefully more, greener pastures for herself. Now, I also know I've seen readers talk about There's a lot of chatter lately about something that might seem completely a non sequitur, but it's actually related. There's been a lot of talk lately about UFOs, aliens. I hate that word, alien, whether we're talking about people or, otherworldly beings. That's just not a nice word, alien. But there's a lot of talk about UFOs, extraterrestrials, celestial support. And there is thinking that the universe, for lack of a better word, will right this ship, that the universe will cause things to happen that will make Harris the president, to put it briefly. Um, I think it's very interesting that there is all of this interest in celestial support. I also, as you can imagine, because I read cards, I believe celestial support is a thing. And I think celestial support can take all kinds of forms. Some of them our imaginations, can't even conceive of. So I guess the first thing I want to do is, or not the first thing, the last thing. I think something that I'd like to look at is there otherworldly, extraterrestrial uh, guidance for us in this? You know, for example, there's a week before certification. Now, to extraterrestrial life, I suspect that time is not a thing. So that doesn't matter, We're worrying about, well, it's only a week. What can you do in a week? Well, you know, in Kairos, the fullness of time, which is where extraterrestrials would conceptualize time, I suspect. A week, that doesn't, I mean, they can do anything in the blink of an eye, so a week is not a hardship. Um, I guess I'm going to use the stars, and that card will represent extraterrestrial support. Um, will that be a factor in what happens in our trajectory between now and January 20th? And what kind of a factor will it be? I mean, that's a pretty good way of phrasing it, right? Okay, let's see what we get. So again, remember, we're looking for the star, and that will stand for divine, I don't want to say interference, divine intercession, um, help, divine help for us in this situation. Okay. Well, don't love what I got, and I will pull a couple of clarifiers. Crossroads, rider, this is divine help, book, cross. So I'm going to say a word about the line, and then I'll pull some clarifiers. So again, I've said that this is about choices. This is also, I'm going to call this the card for free will. All of the players here have free will, including Biden, including Harris. And the next card is the rider, and I think that that is the message to us that their free will run this part of the race. Star, celestial guidance. And I think that this is the book. This is a little bit like having my hand slapped because the message is, of course, we are helping, guiding, supporting. Of course, we are doing that. And in ways that you cannot know, you know. Biden could have a dream, like I dreamt last night. He could have a dream and call Kamala on the hotline and say, listen, I'm going to declare the War Powers Act and you got to, you know, get ready because you're going to be the next president. That could happen. Um, and it could be through divine guidance, right? And he won't understand that it's divine guidance. He'll think that he just sort of had a eureka moment. It could happen, but the thing is, it won't. But this is a card of pain. And I think that for this, Deus ex machina event to happen, which is, uh, Harris and Biden with Superman capes saving the day, um, that's too easy an out for us. Because as I said, Russia was not the only reason that Harris lost this race. We need to look at ourselves. And a quick fix, we love quick fixes here. Quick fix will not move us forward in any kind of evolutionary way. So sometimes medicine is bitter. That doesn't mean that it's not required in order for us to heal. And this country needs to do a lot of healing. And if we're going to blame Russia um, and just sort of sweep everything else away, we have not learned our lesson. So I'm going to pull some clarifiers on the cross and also on the book and also on the star. So first, the star. This is celestial help, celestial guidance. There is guidance for us. They do mean us well, many out there um, in the extraterrestrial realm. They are friendly. They want our planet to succeed, to heal, to thrive, to grow. They want that for us. And they really want, and it's more than just, the guy in the movie E.T. There are there are there are infinite extraterrestrial guides and helpers there. This is a card for a lot. There's a lot out there. And and they are trying to influence Biden. I mean, it's very interesting that he comes up right in the line with this. This is the card this time around for Biden. So they exist. Yes, extraterrestrials, ETs, whatever, exist. They are aware of our plight. They are doing all they can to help us, but we are reminded free will is a thing. Okay. Again, we may not feel like we're being helped. We might be saying, well, I mean, if you're helping us, where's the help? How come Biden hasn't got on you know, all the airwaves and said, yeah, War Powers Act or, whatever you think should happen. I'm going to name Kamala whether 45 got elected or not, whatever you want to have happen. You know, uh, everything is not visible to the naked eye. including the way that we are guided and supported. When I read cards, a lot of times, this is so weird. I'll be reading for someone, and out of the blue, let's say they're asking me about someone who's passed on. Out of the blue, I'll say, listen, I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm hearing this lyric, this song lyric. And I'll repeat the lyric, and they'll say, "Oh my God, that was her favorite song." Or I'll be reading for someone, and I'll say, I smell tobacco, and it's not from a cigarette. It feels like it's from a pipe. Oh, he smoked a pipe. I don't know where these things come from, but it's information that is given to me. I don't try to dissect it. And we're trying to dissect maybe more than we should be trying to dissect, because some things are beyond our ken. Ken meaning our ability to know. But know this, that realm wants things to be better for us. This is the card for positive improvement. They want things to be better. They want things to be better. They want us to be better, to do better, to try harder, to think deeper, to be kinder. The next card is the bouquet. They give us gifts towards this end all the time. And a lot of time we're not recognizing it. Well, what is the gift this time in all of this mess? And I've written about this on Substack. I've talked about it here. It is the chance to wrestle once and for all, to come to terms with once and for all who we are as a nation. And who we are as a nation is not who we say we are. You know that phrase? That's not who we are. Yes, it is. It may not be who we want to be, but by telling ourselves we're something that we're not, doesn't make us not that thing, if you get all those negatives and understand what I'm saying. This experience that we're going through is actually the gift from the universe, because we have not learned our lesson. The gift they're giving us is the chance to know ourselves, to atone for who we've been in the world. We are as we always were, only naked now. A lot of people still don't want to see that. A lot of people who will unsubscribe are like, I don't want that gift. Okay, okay. But I think that that's the gift that the universe wants to give us. Clear sight about who we are. This is the card for self-understanding, self-image, reputation, all of that. So then I drew cards on the cross, which is, you know, some medicine doesn't taste good. Some treatments are painful. This is painful. We have the tower, we have the ring, and we have the lily. Through this painful experience that we are in the midst of and we are about to plunge right into the center of, we as a nation state get another opportunity to go around again and get it right and achieve for ourselves real peace. And I mean peace among us, peace between us, peace inside ourselves, because we're not pretending anymore that we're something that we're not. But I can mirror this card, this last card of the reading, with the first card of the reading. And what would that be? The card for free will. All the universe can do is present us with opportunities for growth. Some of them feel great. Some of them, like this one, not so good. But this is an opportunity. This is a card for healing. But we have to choose to heal. And quick, fast, and in a hurry, with Biden declaring the War Powers Act and Kamala's the president and Putin, you're out of here, and you know, the nightmare is over. That's not the remedy. The remedy is using our free will, each and every one of us, right, to heal. So, again, this may not but be what you want to hear, and I'm okay with that. This is what I have to say. If it's not for you, pass it by, right? Just pass it by. If it's not for you, pass it by. And again, I wish you very well. I will see you early in the week, and I wish you a great rest of your Sunday. Take care.